What's going on? It's time for another episode of Too Hard for the Radio, transmitting from the future free state of Greater Idaho. I am the one armed madman, and with me today, we've got Tiana Tucic. Tiana, it's a pleasure to have you. I apologize for the late hour. It is 2 o'clock in the afternoon for me, and I did not realize it was 11 p.m. for you. So I do apologize, but we're happy to have you here. It's nice to meet you.
Hello, Nick. Nice to meet you. It's a pleasure.
Why don't you tell us a bit about yourself, and then we'll kind of have a discussion here.
About myself, I was born in 1977 in a country which does not exist anymore. It's torn apart. It's Yugoslavia. And now I'm 48 years old, single mom. My daughter is now 25. And shortly, that's pretty much it. So if we want to run the details, I'm here.
No, that's fine. We can kind of brush over in broad strokes. So, what are we kind of talking about today? I know that you're kind of like I guess a life coach would be kind of a term for it in a way.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't want to say a life coach because I don't want to coach anybody.
Yeah.
I just want to serve my knowledge to the people who need. I've been through a war. I've been raped when I was 12 years old.
Oof.
I live in a household with an abusive father. It was back then. It was really a nightmare. Now I'm healed, and I observe that like a necessary uh, journey to be where I am now. Um, and I have decided to share my story to other people and serve them overcome their pain. That's my journey, this world.
What are some of the things that you do to help people? Like, what are some of the paths you lead them down? What are some of the suggestions you give them? How did you, bring yourself out of the hole? Give us kind of the rundown on that.
Yeah, of course. Um, I used to work as a quality manager and a lean consultant, lean continuous improvement consultant in a corporate for 17 years in the past. And I saw a lot of people with their own troubles, their own different struggles. And whenever I could, I helped them without even knowing. It's just a kind word to lift somebody. You never know what people are going through, their moments of their lives. And just be kind. Love is the answer to everything. So at one point, I have decided to, of course, I'm journaling. Even now, I'm
Mhm.
journaling and journaling all my life. And I feel much better when I put on paper mm, my trauma, my I don't know how to say my burdens. And I have decided to make a program to help people write their story in order to help others who will read their story and realize, oh, come on, this is something I'm going through. Let me read further and let me read further. And then maybe people will see that it can help. It can really help rise. It can really help to turn their pain into abundance. Because when we are journaling, we're not only expressing our pain, we are just finding out a solution through that. And there is no past, there is no trauma, there is nothing which defined us. Uh, there is something which happened to us and our reaction, how we react on that. And this is the only thing which is important in life, to take the responsibility and to decide how to react in a certain moments. So if you put in a paper your story, what hurt you at the point of time, and you find a solution for your pain, and you rise from that, you can help other read your story and also maybe find a solution, because we are all human beings, we are all one, we are all same. We just invent those differences, religious and nationality and everything, but we are deep down in the core, we are all the same. And we are on this earth to help each other. And that is the ultimate thing, love and help. Serve to others, not help. It's a strong word. I don't want to raise myself above
Mhm.
others. I just want to know that um, I am here to serve. And through this, my therapeutical program of writing, I'm actually guiding groups. I have three groups. I'm guiding groups to a structural workbook where they can write their story, and even they can publish individual book or a commune book, so they can earn money sharing their story and helping others, and everybody is in win-win situation. It's a wonderful feeling, wonderful thing.
Yeah. In Alcoholics Anonymous, it's like a 12-step program. And the final step of the program is to kind of take all of the tools that you've learned through somebody else. You like worked with the sponsor and you go through the steps. And the final step is taking those tools and giving them back to somebody else and helping somebody else through their struggles. And kind of the point of it is like, it's in a way, it's kind of a selfish act of service, because you're not just helping the person, you're helping them. Or, I mean, you're helping yourself by helping them. And
Yes.
like that's it's kind of weird. Like one of the most profound like lines in Alcoholics Anonymous in the book is they're like talking about what's the guy's first name? Carl Jung. They're talking about Carl Jung, who's like this famous psychologist, and he was alive at the time that they were, first getting Alcoholics Anonymous
Hmm.
published, and they were, spreading it amongst people. And he called it an unexplainable phenomenon that they were able to take these people who were in such bad shape and bring them, out of this deep dark pit, and like bring them back to a normal person again. And this was something that like doctors struggled with for many years, like
Yes.
trying to help alcoholics, and they just could not do it. And
Yes.
what they didn't understand about it at the time was like that the service to others was a big part of it, and the community was a big part of it. And being comfortable sharing your story with somebody. And this is one of the guys who at the time and even today would be known as somebody who had as much or more insight on how the human mind works as anyone. And he couldn't explain how this thing worked the way it did. And
Mm.
I always thought that that was like, I don't remember a lot about the book because I read it years and years ago. But that line like always stuck out to me, that like it was an unexplainable phenomenon, helping others to help yourself.
Exactly. Exactly, because it's deep down in our core to help others, to serve others, to be more precise.
Hmm.
And when people feel that he's at the service and somebody is happy to have them, happy to be in their surroundings, people feel a strange way of accomplishment,
Hmm.
warmth in their chests, and helping and love, it's the ultimate thing. And maybe that's it, because I saw something like reporting, people are asking psychiatrists on the after a session, they're asking them how many people you have cured and how many people, and different thousands of
Hmm.
psychiatrists, and they say none.
Yeah.
And they're constantly coming to them, and because we are following a certain type of a method. We are following a method that we have to dig in our childhood and confront with that small girl or small boy, and confront and absorb the pain, and dissolve it and start from there. But I have a feeling that it doesn't matter. I've been through a lot, and it doesn't matter really what happened. It happened in a simultaneous parallel reality. It happened, but it's not who I am. It's not what defines me. I choose not to be that person. I choose not to suffer, and I choose to be happy and loved and cherished. And you can always choose something else. Life is very short. Life is a playground, very short. We are on this earth for a short period of time, and we can choose to be miserable. We can choose to be in depth. I've been in depression. I had 38 kilograms. I was barely moving. I was in terrible depression. But at that point, I did not know how to rewire my brain, how to switch from that. Now it can never happen to me again. Every day is a new opportunity, new blessing,
Mhm.
and I'm cherishing. So yeah, the great thing is to help others, and it's un, I cannot describe. It's undescribable experience.
Yeah. Another part of Alcoholics Anonymous is like you have to live a life of rigorous honesty. And I think a lot of problems that people have when they go to a psychiatrist or a psychologist is they kind of brush over the stuff that's really bothering them, and they want to give you a version of their life that is maybe what they project to others and not how they truly feel when they're by
Yes.
themselves and what they think about when they're by themselves.
Yeah.
Because, you go to work, and if you're having, problems at when you're alone, essentially, you go to work, you put on a smile, you kind of act like your life is a lot better than it actually is. But you get back home again at night and you're miserable.
Hmm.
And I think
Exactly.
that they do the same thing when they go to the psychiatrist or the psychologist. They tell them about the life that they project to others rather than the life that they truly live. And if you're not willing to like be honest with the person who's trying to help you, you have zero chance of actually receiving any of that help because at that point you're not treating the actual symptoms of your depression or whatever you want to call it, of your, melancholy. Like you're just giving this person a version of yourself that you portray to others but doesn't really exist.
Exactly. I have realized that few people are really sincere to themselves, who they are, and only because society wants you to be somebody else. So I work in a corporate for, I don't know, 20 some years, and I have always been somebody else. I've never been me. I work perfectly as a quality manager, perfectly as a lean continuous improvement consultant. I gave all my best. It's not who I am. It's not my purpose, you know? And of course, I'm miserable when I get home. Of course, I have to take off the mask,
Mhm.
and to confront myself. And when I confront myself, I am a total mess. And yeah, you're right. That is the problem, because people are representing themselves how the society wants them to be perceived. They are not true to themselves. And when you realize what is your purpose on this earth, when you realize who you truly are, and then everything is much easier. Um, I I was helped by a shaman when I took ayahuasca.
I was gonna ask about that.
Uh, yeah, I had a glimpse of a parallel reality of who I am, who I truly am, and I was like mind blowing. So that that was my true purpose on this earth. So, for example, you have to live 80 years if you're lucky. healthy,
Yeah.
80 healthy years. I'm already in my 50s. What do I have? 30 years of slowly movements through life. Um, I have to take responsibility of my acts, of where I'm moving further in my life, and definitely not staying miserable, definitely not satisfying the society who I was supposed to be. And I have to live, not I, but we all have to live true life to ourselves.
I've never taken ayahuasca before. I've taken mushrooms and I've taken acid.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
like, I took a very large dose of mushrooms one time. We didn't really
Oh,
have, them, like, a scale to measure them out, so we kinda just guesstimated on how much to take, and I took a lot,
oh,
and it ended up being a lot more than you're supposed to take, I think, and it was
yeah.
such an interesting, you know, trip that I went on because there was
Oh,
times where I was not having a great time, and
oh, yeah.
they call it a bad trip, but I've never really looked at it as a bad trip. I've looked at it as like a journey of introspection because when you're having a
Yeah.
bad trip, it doesn't have anything to do with the external things that are
Hmm.
around you. It has to do
Yeah.
with what you're
Hmm.
feeling inside about yourself, about your life, the things that you aren't really happy with, the things that you think you need to do better. And it's this crushing weight that's kind of on your chest, of this, evil, for lack of a better term, that has infected your body and your soul and your mind that, pushes you to do things in your life that you typically wouldn't do or know is
Exactly.
wrong or know is
Hmm.
rotting you from the inside out, and it gives you a view of your life and, your true feelings about the way that you're living. And it's hard to kind of come to those conclusions without some sort of like mind altering experience like that. Like, I think a lot of people go
Hmm.
through life without really, and like recognizing it in that moment is one thing. But then when you come out of that trip, like, a lot of
Working
it's
on
it's
that.
really easy to just put it back in the closet
Yeah.
again, you know what I mean? And
Hmm.
bury it deep down in your gut and kind of forget that it happened. And, for me, like, I did a lot of bad stuff when I was younger. I was a drug addict for many years and I did a lot of bad things. I
Yeah,
stole
we
from
all
people.
have
Like,
been to that. Yeah.
yeah, I treated people terribly. And, I think that this is something that, like, not everybody is an addict or an alcoholic or something like that, but I think at this point, like, almost everybody knows somebody close to them that has been.
Yeah.
And, it took a long time for me. Like, I recognized that what I was doing was wrong. But I even after I, quit doing the drugs and got cleaned up, like, I still did some bad stuff within my life. And it took me until I was probably 35, 36 to like kind of really realize like, oh, you really need to change more about your life. You've been off drugs for a really long time, but you're still kind of using these patterns that are not good for
Yeah.
you. They rot you from the
Hmm.
inside out. And it kind of took me, one of the like major realizations I had was like, just because somebody doesn't see you do it, doesn't mean that nobody's
Yeah.
watching, and
Yeah.
I believe in God or some sort of creator in the universe, maybe not necessarily like
Hmm.
the Christian or the
Yes,
or
the same
whatever, but like I believe that
in energy in some
some form of
absolute.
higher power
Hmm.
exists, and it took me
Yeah.
until my mid-30s to kind of realize that just because you get away with something doesn't mean that you got away with it. It it
Exactly.
it rots you from the inside, and there's always somebody or something watching, and this is going to come back at you at some point. And if die when you die, if there's some sort of power of the universe that is watching every move, like, you're gonna have to go through that index of horrible things that you've done throughout your
Yeah.
life, and, like, you gotta stop. Otherwise, that's just gonna be harder and harder and harder to come to terms with, when you're
Yeah.
gone. And it's strange. Like you always hear people say that like you don't really figure life out until you're kind of in your 30s or 40s. And as like a 25-year-old, you think you have it figured out.
No,
Even
yeah.
as a 30-year-old, you think you have it figured out. And then as you get older, you realize like I had no idea what I was doing at those ages.
Exactly.
Like I don't know what I was
Exactly.
doing. I don't know why I was doing it. I didn't know who I was or what I believed in. I didn't have any real principles. I was just kind of floating through life and reacting to life rather than like
Hmm.
living it.
Exactly. So I have to agree with you with everything what you said. Yeah, I have this strange feeling that somebody's watching. Also,
Yeah.
I necessarily don't believe in religion, that kind of thing, but um, some higher power is observing everything.
Mhm.
But in reality, uh, I'm closer to 50, so I'm even smarter than 10 years ago.
Yeah.
We all change, we all evolve, but some of the people are staying the same their whole life. That is terrible. And when we have a feeling that somebody is watching, it's not necessarily don't do terrible things to others or don't do in general terrible things. Somebody's watching, but uh, you are present. You're somebody, and you deep down know it's not good. And Unique and me, we are one. We are the same. And all the people on this earth are the same. We are from the same source, from the same core. We are the same. And because we are connected, we have this strange feeling that somebody's watching, but you are here and you're witnessing this terrible thing, what you're doing, what I was doing. I don't care who was doing, but in reality, uh, that means that you haven't learned your lesson on this earth. And you will be, like you said, when you die, when you go in some
Mhm.
place, when you die, you will come at the same place because you haven't learned that lesson and you will go through everything again. And if you continue to being that kind of a man, uh, until you learn the lesson, you cannot thrive. You
Yeah.
cannot, you know, I have this feeling, but maybe I'm wrong, but who knows? It's an interesting subject to discuss. You can discuss a whole night
Yeah.
if it's up to
You,
me.
you
I
know,
really like it.
I at one point, like after I got hurt, I got electrocuted working on power lines. It was a really bad injury. And,
Mm.
I it's interesting. So like I remember climbing the pole that I was working on, and then I kind of woke up hanging, and I thought I fell. And, I started like trying to get up, and I quickly realized what was going on, that I got electrocuted. And it was, the most pain I've ever been in my life. Like I had
Mm.
severe
Yeah.
burns and I couldn't move. And like for some reason, I grew up racing dirt bikes, so I never like I got hurt a lot essentially, and I never was really like scared of getting hurt because you kind of get used to it, and I had a really high pain tolerance. So I never had like a thought in my mind that I was going to die or I was going to lose my hands. Like it just didn't
Yeah.
occur to me. I thought I would go to the hospital, they'd patch me up, and I'd be back at work again in a couple of months essentially. And like I was more concerned about losing my job than losing my hand,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
a
I
lot of
know. It's
people
a
would
shock.
would say
Mm.
is,
It's a shock
psychopathic. But
response.
for somebody who's kind of used to getting hurt, it's not it's interesting. Like most people can't relate to what I'm talking about, but some people actually can. And anyways, like they called it a catastrophic unsurvivable injury, which is,
Ooh.
looking back on it is crazy that, you
So you were
survived
lucky.
something like that. Yeah, I was. And
Mm.
like while I was in the hospital, they told me that this was gonna be a 5-year recovery, and I'm like, "5-year recovery? Like, are you out of your minds?" Like, I've been hurt so many times, and it's never been a 5-year recovery, but I had never had, like, a brain injury before. And
Mhm.
like, as your brain is rewiring itself, you go through this very strange time where you're not
Oh,
the
yeah.
same person that you were, like, your brain is repairing pathways and creating new pathways because the damage is so bad that it can't repair some of the pathways that it normally did. So you start to think different. My eyes got jacked up for a little while. It was a very strange time. And it actually took longer to recover than they said it would in a lot of ways. Like it was more like an 8 to 10 year injury rather than five.
Oh,
And at one point, like I was not doing well at all. Like, my doctors pulled me off all of my pain medications. I couldn't sleep.
oh,
Like, I was just really going through a horrible time. And after I kind of came out of it and got to the like, I was they thought I was gonna die at one point. I was like 120 something pounds, which I don't know what that is in kilograms, like 60, like 50 something, 60,
oh,
like very, very skinny. Like I had nothing on me. I was dying almost. And after I came out of it, I kind of had this realization that there's a difference between living and surviving. I was in my house, I was eating, I was watching, the stuff on TV, stuff on the internet. I wasn't living a life. I was just surviving. I was just getting
yeah,
by, doing the absolute bare minimum to stay alive. And I think that like that's a realization that a lot of people need to come to terms with. You might be doing more than I was doing in that situation. You might not be in pain. You might just be a normal person, working a job, having a family. But if you're just going through the steps and going through
yeah.
the bare minimum to keep on, getting on to the next day,
Existing. Yeah,
existing, you're not living,
yeah,
you're not enjoying life, you're
yeah,
not
exactly.
exploring yourself, you're not exploring the world. Like exploring the world doesn't necessarily mean traveling, but kind of learning about the world in general, realizing why you're here, what you're supposed to be doing with your life. Like,
Yeah,
there's a lot of people just going through the motions and existing. And I think it's, I still
yeah.
struggle with it. I don't have much of a social life. I kind of am a homebody. I hang out with my dog most of the time, but
Oh, me too.
I've started this podcast, and for me, like, this is my social life, and
Yeah,
it's really helped me, like, being able to talk with people, like, I used when I was, just at home by myself, anytime somebody would come over, I would just yak their ear off about, politics and whatever I'm,
yeah,
like,
no, no.
reading on the just stupid stuff
Yeah,
that doesn't
it's
matter, but, like,
terrible.
I had no
Yeah,
outlet to get, the stuff off of my chest, things that I was
yeah,
frustrated about in the world, and, now, like, I'm capable of having just a normal conversation with my family and not just
yeah.
unloading on them because I have this outlet to kind of explore the
I
world, talk
understand.
to other people, and, like, I bartended for a really long time, and I don't like bars. Like, I don't like
Hmm.
drunk people annoy me, and I don't wanna go to the bar every night and have my ear yacked off by some drunk idiots that live at the bar, you know what I mean? So, for me, this
Yeah.
is a much better outlet socially than anything I've ever done in my life.
Mhm. I totally get you because I love solitude. And I love my own company. And most of the time, when I'm not working with people, I'm alone with my dogs. Uh, Not because I'm lonely and I don't know how to cope with people, but um, when you um, when you are serving people, it's exhausting. It is exhausting, and it occupy a majority of my time. I'm not complaining now. I'm just saying I'm giving all my energy to others, and other people feel that. And I'm there to guide, to help, to hug, to understand, um, to be there for them. And I have very little time when I'm working to be there for myself. That's why I exclude myself from the outside world, and I spend time in nature with dogs and yeah. But that is interesting, which you said. You're loading everybody with the things which are
Yeah.
frustrating you. Those people are never good company.
Yeah.
Sorry
No,
to
it's not.
say. Yeah, but you realize that, and now you're changing the path, and this is important. Some of the people never realize that. I
Yeah.
have a close family which is like that, and I exclude myself from
Yeah.
that.
You're talking
It's
at
sad, but
somebody instead of talking to them, and I hate being
yeah,
talked at, that
yeah,
was
yeah,
something that I
exactly.
dealt with in bars all the time, like, as I was a bartender, so I spent a lot of time in bars, and you
Mhm.
just have these drunk idiots that are just talking at you for hours, and you can't
Yeah,
tell them to shut up because it's your job to listen
yeah,
to them and
yeah.
listen to their problems, and, a lot of times you just wanna, like, pull your hair out and just go, "Shut up, like, I get it, you're frustrated, like, I don't
Like George,
care," you know? And, yeah,
yeah, I
it's
understand.
yeah,
Like George Carlin is saying once, "I like people, but I like them in a short bursts.
yeah,
When it passed minute and a half, I get the fuck
yeah,
out of there."
yeah,
So,
and, man, you
yeah,
add some alcohol to that, and it just becomes so annoying,
even
and,
worse.
like, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
like, I've
yeah.
spent so much time in bars that I can't really do it anymore, especially drunk people just bother me. They've always bothered me. I didn't really realize it when I was a kid, like, what bothered me about drunk people, but, like, I remember, like, I was just thinking about this the other day. I remember, like, I was going to possibly, like, date this girl that I worked with at a restaurant, and, like, I liked her, and then she, like, called me up one night just hammered, trying to get me to, like, come over
Oh,
to her house, and it just annoyed me so much that, like, I wanted nothing to do with her after that, and I didn't really, like, put it together until I was older that, like, I don't like drunk people, and I seem to,
mhm.
like, attract drunk women for some reason. I don't get it, like, my ex-wife was an alcoholic, we met in, like, an Alcoholics Anonymous, and I was able to
Mhm.
stay sober, for the most part. Like, I ended
Mhm.
up, taking a lot of pain medications after I got hurt, but it was
Yeah.
something that, was for a purpose. Like, I was clean for 5 years before I got hurt, and I wanted no, part of going back to that life, and she was not capable of doing it, and it was just brutal, like, living with this shell of a person that, I knew before she went back to it, and, like, for some reason, like, I think that alcohol is the most destructive of
Yeah,
the addictions.
definitely.
Like,
Mhm.
I've had family members that were meth addicts. I was, kind of an opioid addict. I knew a lot of opioid addicts, and, like, meth and opioids, they do alter your perception, and they alter you know your actions in a way, but you're kind of still the same person at your core. It doesn't really,
Mhm.
like, alter
Change you.
it doesn't change you all that much, like, it drives you to do horrible things to get the drugs, but you're
Mhm.
still kind of at the core the same person, you're capable of, like, having a normal conversation. It doesn't alter your perception of reality in a lot of ways. Or, like,
Yeah.
drinking, when you're drunk, you're just gone. You're not
Yeah.
capable of having a conversation, you're not the same person, you're saying things that, you know, sometimes you mean, sometimes you don't mean, but a lot of times you're saying the things that you mean that you are holding back from saying, which, like,
Mhm.
I think that there's a time and place to say those things to somebody, but it has to be in a controlled environment and it can't just be like
Yeah.
spewed out of your mouth with no filter and no context.
Yeah.
Like, so for me,
Exactly.
like, it's been tough dealing with drunk people my whole life.
I understand. My father was an alcoholic and very abusive man. I remember one night, me and mom, I was still a single child. My sister is younger than me, 9 years. Me and my mom, we were asleep, and father came in the middle of the night home, drunk, hammered totally. And he came with an axe in his hand, and he came to kill us.
Oh, wow.
And he was first, you know, throwing words on my mom like she's a miserable whore, that she does not deserve to live, that he is a good man, she's spoiling him, he doesn't deserve her, she's worthless, and that kind of. And I was always a brat. I was always somebody who is unwanted and unloved, and just being there, just like a burden.
Mhm.
And he came with the next to kill us. And I don't know how, but we managed to escape, because when he tried to swing with an axe, he was losing his balance and start falling. And mom took me, and we went out from the house, and we ran. It was March, something like February, March. It was pretty cold. We were barefoot. We were running, and we were hiding in the bushes in a park. And after a while, because he was screaming through the park with an axe. And after a while, we went down to the river, because it was a huge moon and everything was visible.
Yeah.
And we went down and spent the night until the morning on the shore of the river. So yeah, this is only one thing, but plenty of other things happened when he was hammered. Yeah. I remember also beating my mom in a next room. He was beating her, and I was sitting and pretending to watch TV. Back then, we had black and white TV. We did not have a colored
Mhm.
TV in the 80s, beginning of the 80s. And I was pretending to watch TV, and it was a cartoon, Smurfs. I don't know if you
Yeah.
remember
Oh, yeah, the
Smurfs.
little blue
And I
guys.
was Yeah, I was imagining which color are they, are them, which color are those houses, the mushrooms which they're living. And in the background, I just listened to the beating on the flesh. My mom didn't even cry. He was just beating her, and that beating on the flesh
Mhm.
with the fists. It was terrible. I can even hear it now. And can you imagine childhood like that,
I
living like
can't.
that?
I can't. I'm
Oh my
truly
God.
sorry that you had to go through
Yeah.
something like that, but
So,
it
but
clearly made you a strong person, you know?
yeah, yeah. But this is something which does not define me, and I have to put that somewhere at the back. I don't have to confront it at all. It's just not who I am. It's not what my life should be. It's just I feel sorry for him, because he didn't want to be helped. He didn't realize that he was doing something bad.
Mhm.
At the last day when he passed away, me and my mom, we were at the marketplace, and a neighbor called us to tell us that he fell down in front of the house. And my mom rushed home, and it was in 2014. And my mom rushed home, and I stayed at the market to purchase, because we were preparing for the new year. It was for the New Year Eve, he passed away. And she said, "Come, he's not feeling well." And I just told her, "Let him die." just, just like that. I was a bad person, but it will be a relief for him, because he was having his own demons, fighting them. He didn't know how to confront them. He was projecting his fears, his pain, his inability to create something out of his life to us. He was not willing to be helped, and I just say, let him die, but without uh, anger, or just like that. Let him die. Just don't don't try anything.
Yeah.
So she ran with him. She called an ambulance, and they went to a hospital. And he just opened his eyes and told her, "Please forgive me for the life I've been serving to you," something like that. And he died. and she's carrying that with herself. My mom still, that she have to forgive him, but she's struggling because all the amount of the pain he caused her,
Mhm.
she's not able to forgive him, and she's in that process of realization, even 11 years now. But yeah,
It
yeah,
must have been a
it's really difficult.
it must have been a massive weight off your chest to just say that, you know, to get it
Oh,
out in the open and let it go. And,
yeah,
you know,
Nick.
one of the hardest parts of like having someone close to you, family or friends, that is destroying their life, that's not, living, that is just surviving or
Mhm.
existing, is you can't save somebody that doesn't want to be saved. And that's like a
Exactly.
hard realization to come to. Like, I have some people close to me that are still going through that type of situation, and the parents are codependent and enabling this person to destroy their life in a lot of ways. And like, the best thing my family did for me when I was going through that was to just say, you're on your own. We're done
Yeah,
helping
let it
you.
go.
We're done being
Exactly.
codependent. Like, you're going to have to figure this out on your own. And once I ran
Exactly.
out of options, I had no choice but to confront the demons
Yes,
and to,
exactly.
excise that crap from my body and to, change my life. And once I showed that I was serious about changing my life, they were there to help again. But,
Of course.
at some
Yeah.
point they had to just say, you're on your own. You got to figure this out
Mhm.
on your own, because clearly whatever we're doing is not helping.
Exactly. Exactly. My daughter, she started to use drugs, and it's really difficult for me as a mother to see that, because I've been through a lot. But you know, um, and I reacted out of impulse and try to help. But she didn't want to be helped
Yeah.
at that moment. And then I realized it was really heartbreaking. And I realized it, uh, Diana, stop it, step back, let her fall, let her be at the bottom. Just don't be there for her. Whenever I'm there for her, she's just okay. I'm on the top of the world. I can, over and over. And then she realized it. Now she's good. She's fine. But yeah, it's a good decision for your parents as well to step back and not be there for you, because this is something you should go through on your own and realize on your own and get to that point that you need to be helped,
Yeah.
and helped not necessarily by others but by yourself, and that is the main thing.
Yeah, you have to hit rock bottom, and you can't hit rock
Exactly.
bottom if somebody has a bungee cord connected to your
Yeah,
back,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
Exactly. Yeah.
So kinda to change the subject up a little bit, I'm a big sci-fi fan. I read a lot of sci-fi
Yeah.
novels, and I don't watch as much TV as I used to. I kinda got sick of watching TV at some point,
And I don't
about
have a TV.
5 years ago, and I don't feel like they're making good TV, but that's a whole different conversation. But I did see that, you were a fan of Quantum Leap, so, I haven't watched the show, but I do know the premise of the show, so kinda tell me about that.
Yeah, but don't misunderstand me. Quantum Leap is in a program
Oh,
of,
okay. Well, it is
yeah, yeah,
a
yeah.
TV show, but okay, so I
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah. Also,
misinterpreted that.
also a
Yeah,
TV.
yeah, okay.
Yes, yes, yes. Also a TV show, but I'm also fan of that. But Quantum Leap is a program of the Success Resources, and
Okay.
that triggered me to change my life, because I started. I joined that Quantum Leap, and since then my reality is not the same. And probably it's connected with the sci-fi science fiction. uh, and I have to tell you one more thing.
Sure.
When I took ayahuasca, uh, I was asking, you know, you had those visions. Of course, you're closing your eyes. Sometimes with the open eyes, you had visions, not like schizophrenic, but you have some journey on your own, introspective, of course. And I ask, um, I ask just in the ether, I throw the words, show me the source, show me where we came from. And all of a sudden, a huge spaceship, golden one, came, and I was in that spaceship. First of all, crazy thing, uh, Nikola Tesla took me by my hands and pulled me out, very strongly pulled me out. I was laying, and all of a sudden I was levitating, and Nikola Tesla hold my hands, and I was aware of myself, and I was in that golden spaceship, and around me were just reptilian eyes all over me, and I was just really, the eyes with a line,
Yeah.
the reptilian eyes, and I was just, okay, if this is a source, so I'm a part of it, and it was confirmed. So I'm not a Scientologist. I'm a fan of sci-fi, but yeah, something is beyond our understanding,
Yeah.
probably,
I have a
and
theory
it's
about hallucinogens and consciousness. So my idea is that our brains don't generate consciousness, that it is something somewhere else. And our brains are more like a radio antenna that is
mhm,
capable of picking up the signal and
from the
allowing
source.
us
Yeah,
to from the source. And
yeah,
I
yeah,
think that
exactly,
like when you know somebody's about to call you, you just have this feeling that someone's
exactly.
gonna call you. I think it's because we're all, like, entangled on the quantum level because we all come from the same source, and I think that, like, if there are aliens out there, they probably share that same source, and their brains
Hmm.
are, again, like antennas for consciousness, so we kind of share that source with them as well, and they're gonna think different than us because the makeup of their brains are gonna be completely different, and the way they interact
Yeah,
with the source is gonna be different. And I think that, hallucinogens give us access to that source in a way where you can
yeah,
kind of interact with these other beings that you're sharing, this source with. And I think that it gives you it opens your mind in a way that you can't perceive in
in
baseline
a normal state.
reality.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
And, you know, I think that's why it's so weird is because it's this place that we're not really I wouldn't say that we're not meant to go because clearly we are meant to see this
hmm,
because, mushrooms, ayahuasca, DMT, these are all things that are created by nature. So if there is some sort of
yeah,
creator
exactly.
that's maybe, part of the source or created the source or is the source, like it clearly gave us
Yeah,
access to these substances that let
exactly.
us
On
expand our
purpose.
minds and yeah, on
Hmm.
purpose. So
Yeah,
I don't know. It's something that's so strange that like you can't really describe it to somebody that has never done it before, but when you're talking to somebody else that's been there, it's kind of like an unspoken bond where you both understand, like, you understand what I'm talking about. It's hard to put
yes,
it into words because it's such
yeah,
a
but I understand.
profound experience, but you understand what I'm saying, and it's
Yeah,
hard for, like, normal people that have never experienced this. You tell them about it, and they're kind of like, "Yeah, well, whatever,"
yeah,
and
yeah,
and
exactly.
they don't realize, like, what a profound experience it can be, and I think especially, like, people who don't take drugs, who have never been on drugs in their life, they look at this as,
Hmm.
like, something bad, as, like,
Hmm.
something forbidden that
Yeah,
you're not supposed to do, where in reality, to me, this is something that humans have been doing for thousands and thousands of years,
exactly. Yeah,
and it's not like you go and take ayahuasca and you wanna do it again the next day, or mushrooms, the same thing, like, a lot of times
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's not a fun
Mm-mm.
experience, it's like a
No,
profound, like, flush of
yeah,
the demons in your body, and it's not
yeah,
something that you wanna do. Like, most of the time, I don't want any part of it, and, the last couple times I've been offered it, I haven't done it because it's like, oh
yeah,
man, it's a tough thing to do,
mm,
a lot of
yeah.
times, and
Introspection.
yeah,
Introspection is always tough thing to
yeah,
do. Yeah.
and I do think that people's attitudes towards psychedelics are changing. At least in the United States, they are like they're becoming less and less taboo, and people are recognizing them as medicine rather than,
Yeah,
something
exactly.
evil or, some sort of illegal activity. And like I've always thought, and I think most people who have partaken in some sort of, psychedelics think that like if more people did this, we would live in a better world because it
Oh,
kind of
definitely. Yeah.
dissolves the self in a lot of ways and gives you like access to community when you're doing it with other people. There's this bond that you have with them. You're almost sharing the
Hmm. Yeah.
experience in a lot of ways, even though what they see and what you see are still different. Like you're still sharing
Hmm.
this experience and you're building community and you're building a strong tie with somebody. And like I truly believe that the world would be a much better place if
Exactly.
psychedelics weren't so
I
taboo.
agree with you. I agree, but only psychedelics which comes from the nature.
Yes.
Everything which come from the nature. It's for me. For example, meth is not
No.
something which I will try.
I've known people that cook meth before where I grew up, like their
Mm,
meth was a big problem. And it's like you would never eat dinner at these people's homes because they live in shacks or sheds or
yeah,
tree houses, like just, or on the streets essentially. And it's like, if you wouldn't
yeah.
eat dinner
That's
at their
destroy.
house, why would you put something in your body that they cooked up in a bathtub? You know, it's so
Yeah.
gross and just so bad for you. And yeah, I'm not for that.
Mm,
But
no, but from the nature, why not? Um, this June, I went to Amsterdam, and I took a decent quantity of mushrooms. And I remember I was sitting in the restaurant trying to act normal, and two Romanian women approached me, and they asked me to join their table. But I was sitting um, in a table with some near Polish guys, and because in Amsterdam, tons of people from abroad are coming and working and so on. And the Romanian girls asked me to join them. So I went there and they told me, I felt your energy uh, morning before. I felt you in this place morning before. Have you been here? I said, yeah, I had a breakfast. I'm staying in this hotel. And they said to me, like, you have an extraordinary, warm mother energy, and you should take care of that. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. And apparently, they're like medium psychics. I don't
mhm.
know what they are, but they told me that. So
I think that
I went
like
to,
I think there's something to like mediums and psychics. And I think what it could be is like I was saying earlier, if we all come from the same source consciousness,
yeah,
I think
yeah,
we're all connected on the quantum level, like quantum entanglement. And I think that some people are more sensitive to that connection. And the closer
hmm,
you are with somebody, the closer that connection, the stronger that bond. And I think that some people are just more capable of accessing that, which is why they're,
exactly.
capable of doing things that we can't really explain. I never really believed in that type of stuff when I was younger, and, like, I have my mother, like, had an experience with, like, a medium that she can't explain. Like, one of the things that was totally unexplainable to me was, like, she lost her dog, and this woman found her dog, like, 100 miles away, told her where the
Mhm.
dog was 100 miles. It's like, how the hell could you possibly know that? Like, it defies all logic, and, like, I just think
Yeah,
that these
yeah,
people are more sensitive to this network of consciousness that we all share on some level, but we're not really evolved enough and capable enough to kind of recognize ourselves.
exactly. So when they told me that, I finished with them. We talk a little, and I went to my room and I lay down. I'm probably because of the mushrooms and
Mhm.
hallucination. I don't. I'm still. grasping of my common sense, I saw some silhouettes, some glowing silhouettes around me, a lot of them, and they were just mingling, passing by and mingling. So I closed my eyes and I forced myself. I was tired, and I forced myself to sleep. Um, and then a few months after, I had something like a challenging situation, which I did not know how to deal with. So I'm doing a research and I'm going to a different psychiatrist, psychologist, you know, to speak. And I went to three of them, and they did not know how to help me. So I received a phone number of a guy in a city nearby, like 50 miles away. And I went to see him, but I did not know if he's a psychiatrist or whatever he is. So apparently he's doing beyond energy thing, something like that. So I went to see him and I knocked on his door and he was sitting, and the room was warm and pleasant and without any devices, no PC,
Mm-hmm.
no phone, nothing, just him sitting, and he looked at me and he said, I was waiting for you. And a very old guy, he said, I was waiting for you. Please sit. And I was like, okay, because I announced myself. I thought that he was waiting for me. So I sit, and he's having a Parkinson disease and he's shaking like this.
Mm-hmm.
And he told me, my time to leave this planet has come. I'm glad that you are here. And I did not understand shit what he was telling me. So I was like, okay. And he told me, sit in front of me and let me look at you. And I was sitting and I expect to look at me, but he closed his eyes, and he closed his eyes and he was like writing something with the closed eyes on his papers, making circles or something because he's shaking of the Parkinson disease. And he's told me like, you have energy same as mine, but you have a bonus. Your your loving appearance, your loving appearance. You have to do guidance. You have to guide people. And okay, and I was sitting there. It was a few months ago, and I connected this with those two ladies from the
Yeah.
Amsterdam, and I was like, okay, I'm not realizing what's going on. And he told me, you have such a strong energy, but you don't know how to use it. You have a healing energy, but you don't know how to use it. I will help you. I will transmit you everything, and then I will lose it. He will lose this ability. I don't know how. And now I'm going to guidance. I had three sessions with him, and I can see the change. You cannot imagine. I'm not saying I'm medium or
Mm-hmm.
I see things in the future, but I lost my dog, and my mom. I lived in a different city, and my mom tried to find him. He ran away from the house. They opened the door, and
Mm-hmm.
he ran. And I came home 1 hour and a half after she told me that they couldn't find him for 2 days. I came home and I was just observing and got into his small body. And if I will be him, where will I be? And I got at the same spot when he was at the other part of the city, almost at the suburb. And I don't know how to explain that. This is something which you have feeling deep down. And for example, um, I was playing a little bit because I'm now playing with all these informations, and I circled some numbers on the how to that games which you're playing to receive money. I don't know how it's called in your country, but I circled some numbers random, and four numbers which I've circled, I I saw them. but the rest I just,
Yeah.
randomly. And those four numbers were drawn from the yeah, and it was crazy. And I was like, okay, I have to concentrate more and to work on that, not to receive, I don't know, a huge amount of money, but just to confirm to myself that I can. And if I can do that, small things like finding a dog and winning a lottery or something, uh, what more can I do
Yeah.
to help others? That's
Yeah.
why I'm even more convinced that I'm on a good path. And with this therapeutical writing program, I can really help others.
That's awesome.
This is something, yeah, this is something which we are carrying in ourselves, and we are not even aware until somebody is pulling our hand and, hey, you
Yeah.
got it.
That's
So,
good. I'm glad you found your dog. Like, that's one of my biggest fears is my
uh,
dog getting out,
oh my God, yeah,
when
I
I
have two of them.
when I moved
They're
here
adorable.
when I moved here to Idaho, like, it was right after I got hurt. My ex-wife was doing the drinking thing, and we had a dog that was my mom's dog that I had, had a lot of experience with, and we moved here and my yard didn't have a great fence, and I went around and I thought I
Oh,
fixed all of the spots where he could get out, but I didn't, and he ended up getting out and, like, got hit by a car, which was,
oh no,
one of the worst days of my life, probably even worse
of
than
course.
when I got
Yeah,
injured because, it was this little dog that I was close to, and now the dog that I have, like, we've spent, every day together since I've gotten hurt, minus a couple where I had to go out of town for doctors and stuff like that, and I just can't imagine, like, how
me
horrible it
neither.
would be to
Yeah,
lose him, and I can't really
yeah,
relate to the, story that you just told, which is a crazy story, but, like, I'll tell you this one, and then we can get you out of here so you can go to bed, but that night that I was
yeah,
talking about earlier where I took the large dose of mushrooms was, like, one of the
yeah,
most profound nights of my life. The whole night reminded me of Alice in Wonderland, like, going on a journey,
exactly.
like a journey inward, and it was just without talking about the entire night, I'll tell you about the end of the night. So, like, we were in this apartment that me and my buddy rented, and towards the end of the night, like, the apartment had no electricity, no running water, no nothing, like, we were just by ourselves in this empty house, high on mushrooms, and I thought the trip was over, so I drove to my new place, and, like, on the way there, I was like, "Holy crap," like, I'm still jacked up, and, like, I had to go through this section of cones that was, like,
Oh,
turning, and it felt like I was going through the Alice in Wonderland tunnel in a lot of ways, and I got home, and I turned the TV on, and randomly, this was the night that Hurricane Katrina was making landfall in New
oh
Orleans,
yeah, I
and
remember. Yeah.
I turned on the Weather Channel because I wanted to kind of see what was happening with it, and, like, it had when you look at a hurricane on the Weather Channel, it's, like, green and red, and it's turning and,
Mm,
doing that whole thing, and I'm, like, watching it, and I'm like, "Holy crap," like, I'm still jacked up right now, and all the colors are kind of doing
yeah.
weird stuff, and then it just kind of, like, hit me out of nowhere. It was like, "You're not watching crazy colors right now. You are watching people die." And I just had this, like,
Hmm.
crushing weight that kind of hit me. It was like,
Yeah,
kind of like
yeah,
feeling their pain and, connecting with them on a personal level.
exactly.
Like, even though I had no idea what they were going through, I felt that energy.
Yeah,
I felt
yeah,
that feeling of despair and loneliness and all these things that they were
yeah,
going through. And I'm sure I wasn't feeling it as much as them, but I
yeah,
at that
yeah. We
moment,
are connected.
I felt
Mm,
like I was connected to these people that was
mm,
going
yeah,
through something absolutely horrific.
yeah, yeah. I can imagine. But we are connected, and that's why we can feel other people's pain and struggle, and um, especially if you're empathic and emotional a little bit more. If it's sometimes it's unbearable.
Yeah.
I have this strange feeling that I have to help everybody, but in reality, not everybody wants to be
Yep.
helped.
You can't
But
save somebody that doesn't wanna be saved.
Yeah, but when you see and you go through all that, when you've been at that moment, it's and you feel it, it's shaking the body. I can tell.
Yeah.
I've been through a war, a civil war, and bombing in my country, and also that amount of pain. It's somehow unbearable, but you're occupied with your own struggle to survive. So you're not absorbing that much of others, but
Mhm.
still, in that times, if you can help others, you feel good. You feel good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can only imagine.
Well, it was a pleasure meeting you and speaking with
Oh
you.
yeah,
I
Nick.
had a great time. Where can people get a hold of you if they want to enlist your services?
I have a website, set a small line, set priorities, but it's in my native language. It will be translated soon in English, but maybe I have to expand my service to others. So set priorities is a website, and set priorities is Instagram profile.
Sounds good.
Also,
I will link those in the description of the podcast, and
mm,
I would doubt that there's
thank you.
anybody listening to this in your native country, but you know, it's
No,
everybody
I don't
knows
think so.
somebody, you know. It's always maybe
Yeah.
somebody listening to this knows somebody who where do you live now?
Currently, I'm in Arad in Romania.
Okay.
Originally, I'm from Serbia.
Sounds good. All right. Well,
Yeah.
it was a
Thank you,
pleasure
Nick.
talking with you. You're welcome. Thank you. And
Thank you so
thanks for
much.
listening, everybody. I hope you got something out of this.